LGD's turn to ban.
Okay, hello everybody, and welcome back to the Sina Cup Supernova Dota 2 Open Season 2. We are in the main event portion of the competition, and this is Tongfu versus LGD, game number 2 of a best of 3, LGD currently leading 1-0. I'm Basicap here providing coverage on behalf of Beyond the Summit, and it's my pleasure to welcome back as my co-caster, Winters. So, Winter, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm good. How about you?
Doing pretty well, looking forward to this game. And, well, I guess we're going to see if Tongfu change up their style a little bit, or if they just maybe try for more of the same with slightly different execution.
Yeah, guess the main problem just now was the execution. I don't think the draft was any of a big deal. They could just like split push, like what we discussed before, and try to avoid the fights. But I hope that this game they would bring much better execution. They really need a lot to do a lot better than the last game if they want to take the series to 3 games.
Yeah, I think part of the problem as well was just how early that gem pickup was from DDC. I think he went Arcane Boot straight into a gem, and that did make life really difficult for XDT. Your offlane Nyx Assassin pretty much only has one goal in life. He's looking to roam around, set up pickoffs, and kind of go from there. And a similar story for the Clinks. We did touch on how the Clinks just... You're too afraid to randomly go up hills or anything like that when the Batrider could be carrying a gem and just find you out. So, we'll see.
I think a lot of the gem money came from XDT. He was dying a lot at the offlane.
He didn't have the best time on the Nyx.
He gave a lot of gold away to the supports, and now Tongfu are the ones going for the YAO-WCH.
Okay, so they're on the dire side. They go YAO-WCH.
Yeah, LGD has to show them how to deal with the YAO-WCH. Teach them a lesson.
Yeah, and I would say already LGD are fairly well equipped. You talked about, and this new option that's sort of emerged more and more in dealing with aggressive tri-lanes, which is don't fight the tri-lane directly. Just roam your Crystal Maiden Alchemist or Bane Alchemist, whatever it is. Go and roam on the enemy team's, safe lane, and mid, and in that way force their supports to leave if you don't feel confident in fighting them head on. And when you've got a Rubik and a Visage, it takes a pretty potent tri-lane to feel safe about fighting those two heroes directly.
Yeah, and Alchemist first pick most of the time it means it's a support right now. Like no one ever goes for Alchemist solo mid or carry anymore. Because of the new laning phase, it's very difficult for Alchemist to roam around, and Alchemist plus Crystal Maiden is definitely a very strong duo to run around at the start to gank.
Yeah, and Tongfu don't even have the best supports to just, say, sit behind their mid lane or something like that. Rubik can do a passable job, I would say, but these Alchemist ganks are scary.
You would rather have Earthshaker to do that job instead of Rubik.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess if you're on the Dire side as well, there's even more motivation to pick up the Earthshaker. The Dire offlane isn't nearly as safe as the Radiant side, and you can kind of make up for that with the Ancient pulls. But I don't know. Again, like we talked about in the previous game, how viable just sitting there with your Earthshaker is sort of a bit of a question. If you get unlucky with the spawns, if you don't get the last hits, then you can be useless.
It's very debatable whether it's worth it or not.
Yeah. So neither team really focusing in on their cores too much just yet, and not really too many late game cores banned out either. We're seeing Pugna, we're seeing Timbersaw, we're seeing some Kunkka banned out as well. So still plenty of your big name carries are making it through, but neither team focusing on them just yet. So it looks like they're both going to have plenty of access to, say, a Weaver, your Gyrocopter, your Mirana, your Luna, so your premium ranged carries. And then a bunch of fairly good mids making it through here as well. So I think we're in for, no matter what happens, should be a pretty exciting game.
We might even see a Viper from Tongfu. They have been really one of the few teams that tend to pick up Viper a lot. And I'm also very surprised that in the first game as well, Timbersaw actually made it through to the second ban phase. This hero is always like either first ban or first pick really quickly. But the last game and this game as well, he's only banned in the second phase.
Yeah, I am a little bit surprised because a lot of teams have been banning the Timbersaw really heavily, and Tongfu go for the Dragon Knight. I am a bit surprised because it feels like a hero that's going to be pretty straightforward for an Alchemist and a Crystal Maiden to gank on mid, no matter what kind of what other hero is sitting there on the lane. I don't think you even need to set up stun or anything like that to find this kill. As long as the Dragon Knight is close to the river, you should just be able to loop around and get him. Though I guess it does mean that it's going to take both supports as opposed to just one, so that does help you sniff out the gank a little bit better.
Well, if you look at the second phase bans from Tongfu, they ban out Kanka and Daxia, two heroes that are able to defend and fight early on with their AoE and spells. And right after they take out these two heroes, they pick a Dragon Knight to complement their Visage and Rubik. It shows that Tongfu are just going to do an all-out mid-game push right now. The last two picks, I wouldn't even be surprised if they just go for Necrobook heroes to complement the lineup they have.
Yeah, there's actually plenty of ways, plenty of directions I would say to take this. You could go for the Necrobook carriers. There's still a Death Prophet in the pool as well. I hear that some teams have been experimenting with a little bit. Yeah, I really like the DP as well. And then there's also a Rasta, but most of the time we see the Shadow Shaman or the Rasta playing mid, and that's typically where Dragon Knight is. Some teams still run him safe lane.
Or the Prophet. The Prophet is much more common as your position 3 Necrobook carrier. He's the one that farms up the easiest among all the position 3 heroes.
Yeah, so LGD do need to make some considered decisions, and they say, screw it, we see your 5-man, we see your push. We're just going to do the same thing. So yeah, looks like Alchemist is going to be grabbing some farm. It's a pretty good matchup against the Dragon Knight. They both get their farm, I guess is the summary.
This is actually a sort of really wise decision. Once you see the Dragon Knight, you know that your Alchemist, if you put him middle, is going to get levels easy. He's not going to be under too much pressure, and you can abuse the fact that you're going to pick a mid hero that has carry
10
potential.
seconds remaining.
Something like an OD or SF, and you can go for another carry on the safe lane. And if you are able to carry the game to really late, you're going to have two really strong heroes later on.
Reserve time.
Yeah, that's kind of the story for both teams right now. We're going to have an Alchemist and a Dragon Knight, so both teams still have the space to pick up something fairly late game if they want it. We've still got, as I was talking about before, all of those premium ranged carries are still
Mirana.
Yeah, I think Luna could be a pretty good option for, well, maybe for LGD.
Both sides. I would feel both sides can benefit a lot from the Luna aura.
Yeah, so we'll see which team, which direction each team takes it, because we could still see either team escalating it with the Weaver, for example, or they could just go for that all-in sort of mid-game pushing strategy. I don't think LGD have necessarily given away what they're doing just yet, but it is looking like Tongfu are planning to be... right now, they're the team that's more willing to take it late, I would say, until LGD takes something else.
I feel LGD needs a position 3 hero that has AoE to really defend out the push early on, like a Windrunner. I'm not sure they have any other very good options left for their position 3. There's not much left. Like Bounty Hunter wouldn't be too good in this situation.
Tongfu's turn to ban.
And LGD go for the Lifestealer.
This is most likely the position 1 hero, Rabbit. So it'll be Rabbit on the Lifestealer. Shell 8 will be the Alchemist. So Yao has to be something like a Windrunner or a hero that doesn't require too much farm.
Remaining.
Ring ring.
5 seconds.
Sorry.
Hello, it's winter. Anyway. So yeah, I think the Windrunner, if it makes it through, could be a good option. What else do we have? The Timbersaw being banned out is maybe a little bit unfortunate. He's another one of your sort of good offlane counter push heroes. Actually just going to end up being the Razor banned out for LGD. So they're actually a little bit more worried about some counters for these two melee heroes that they do have right now.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem like they have any other good options left for their position 3 heroes. Like, it's really limited what they can go for at the moment, unless they want to do something weird with the Alchemist on the offlane.
Yeah, Tongfu could take the Windrunner for themselves right now, I guess,
remaining.
and deny it to LGD. Could be cute, and I think it also works out pretty well overall with their lineup. If they feel that LGD's defensive tri-lane is particularly weak, they could even go Rubik, Visage, Windrunner, aggro tri, solo the Weaver against whoever the last pick is from LGD, and just be kind of content that the Dragon Knight might get ganked on a little bit, but at least you're pressuring the Lifestealer. I guess it was going to come down to the last pick from LGD as well.
They could even do something like a Weaver plus Research on the off lane to pressure the Lifestealer, because they don't really have too much of a stun in the lane. If they run a CM Lifestealer lane, there's only Frostbite, and the Chen has to get a really good creep like the troll to be able to kill your Weaver. They could do it that way to pressure the
10
Lifestealer
seconds
and pick another
remaining.
safe lane hero to farm with. That's like the most greediest
5
way they can go.
seconds remaining.
So that's the
Okay.
way they're gonna go. Really greedy. This is very greedy.
LGD's turn to pick.
Yeah, this is extremely greedy from Tongfu, but it gives them an amazing tricore for the late game. If we get there, is the only question, I suppose. So a lot of this is going to come down to the supports, which we saw picked up, really early on in this draft. Crystal Maiden and Chen, if they can roam around, if they can get some ganks going, they can get some good momentum going for the LGD side. Hopefully pick up a fast mech somewhere, either in the Alchemist and the Chen.
10 seconds
And I think that's kind of what LGD need to do. They do need to kind of outrace the Tongfu late game. But they go for Invoker. Okay.
Never expected this at all. Like the Slada is really good against the Alchemist and the Lifestealer because of the amplify damage, and Alchemist has a huge ton of regen but no armor, and Lifestealer generally is really weak if he doesn't have armor. So that's actually a really, really good pickup in a sense against to counter the LGD lineup, but it was actually also really greedy at the same time. But LGD going for the Invoker, probably means Alchemist will be in the off lane.
Yeah, so YAO-WCH taking the Alchemist, heading up towards top right now. Yao is going to be your Invoker on mid, just an Ult Talisman and some Tangos for him to start things off. DD is going to be your Chen. DDC is on the Crystal Maiden. We've got Rabbit on the Lifestealer, and that finishes it up for LGD. So, Winter, what's going on Tongfu?
We have Mu on the solo mid Dragonite, Joe the captain on the Slaughter, ZSMJ on the Rubik, XTT on the Weaver this time round. Hope he has a better game compared to the last. And we have Shan Sheng on the support WCH. They're going to bump into each other here.
Yeah, moving down aggressively. Rabbit, the first one to scout things out, and he's going to back off. DDC just kind of hugging the tower for the time being. Tongfu are coming in, hoping to place down a couple of wards, maybe block up some camps. This is actually a ward that we've seen DK go for a lot recently. I don't think it blocks out any camps, but it does give you a good vision of the Chen moving in, and also potentially what the Crystal Maiden is up to. If she's jungling, if she's smoked up looking for a gank. And it's not so obvious that it's here, because, like I said, I don't think it blocks at anything.
The battle begins.
Yeah, it doesn't block, but I'm not really sure whether LGD didn't see that. Like, when he placed it, the Lifestealer was still nearby. I'm not sure if they didn't see that. Maybe they didn't. I'm not very sure. Like, because if they did, they would have definitely placed a sentry down immediately.
Yeah, I guess the other thing is if you know that it's there, it's not as valuable. I mean, if you plan your smoke and just smoke past the ward, then maybe the offlaner is playing up a little bit because he thinks that. I mean, it's a bit mind gamey, and I would say that yeah, most of the time you're just gonna deward it anyway to keep him scared. But maybe one kill there for LGD. So they're just running a full offlane Weaver.
Yeah,
and
the
DK
it's gonna be
mid,
offlane Alchemist. This is very weird.
Yeah, YAO-WCH runs up. The supports come out, look for the lift, but ZSMJ a little bit too slow. But this is again the problem. We've got this dire defensive tri-lane with the Rubik and the Visage, and they're going to have to mix things up a little bit at some point if they really want to get some levels on these heroes. Especially if YAO-WCH just plays this defensively, realizes that he can't really walk up to the creep wave, and is just going to be here soaking levels. Then if he doesn't die, then I do think the supports end up pretty underleveled for the mid game.
And looking at the trade-offs LGD is getting, I would definitely favor them since they are the ones having the Chen, and Tongfu has 2 laning support. So this sort of scenario really favors the Chen a lot.
Yeah, and I mean, like we talked about, these aren't really supports that are going to come sit behind the Dragon Knight on mid. So the Crystal Maiden and the Chen can be pretty scary here.
Here comes the Chen already. He's smoked up alone heading towards middle. Or top?
Yeah, we'll see what he's up to. There is a smoke being delivered by Tongfu, so they're coming up with a contingency plan for the fact that they can't just sit top lane and hope that the Alchemist is going to get
I don't think
out
they
of
can get this
position.
kill though. Oh no, Alchemist is here too, they can.
Oh, they can. They've got the Troll Trap to lead, they've got the Snap, they need to keep in position. There's the net, the stun's flying in. Mu turns around for one defiant Breathe Fire. Really nicely executed first blood there for LGD.
First conversion.
Yeah, this is the way that they have to give the
Dire's middle
Alchemist
tower
a
is
way to
under
come back
attack.
into the game, because offlane Alchemist, oh, he's gonna be surrounded by the 2 supports.
Yeah, they're smoked.
They can
they're
actually
both
wait
level
for
1.
him. They can wait for him to run up the high ground path near the secret shop and lift it and chuck him on the high ground. Yeah, I think they will do that.
ZSMJ reveals himself. He's still next to the cliff. Can they get him up? No. It is a little bit trickier now.
Yeah,
and
they
Xiao's
need to
got
wait.
boots. He's going to be fine.
They need to wait for him to be like really close to the cliff for them to be able to do that.
Yeah, you're not supposed. The way that it works now is you're not supposed to be able to click on top of the cliff, so you can't actually target the top of the cliff. But what you do with the drop, you actually target it past where you want them to go, and then they actually, tries to throw them the max duration and the max distance, and they end up on top.
That's actually a really good explanation on how it works now.
Yeah, it's a bit tricky, and they tried to remove it, but it still works. So we might see some more changes. But for the time being, it looks like they're content with the way that it is.
And the ward is going to spot out the alchemist rotating in. Like having this sort of support on the this sort of hero on the off lane that has a really good stun early on. It's similar to having a Spirit Breaker when teams were picking Spirit Breaker as an off lane, where he would just always give so much pressure to the mid lane guy because you never know whether the Spirit Breaker is charging in, and you are constantly having to play safely. And this is sort of a bit of a similar situation.
Yeah. Well, LGD, not wasting too much more time. Well, not even wasting time, but not spending more time on mid lane. They're actually just going to come down bot. They know that a level 2 Weaver can do nothing to stop their push.
Here comes the Rubik.
Yeah, the Rubik's here as well. He's got a rank 1 Fade Bolt ready, but tower's already fairly low. Fortification's already been used.
They can TP in another 2 heroes. Zhou has TP, Shang has TP.
Yeah, they're TPing in, they're going for it. The tower not going to end up being last hit. Zhou's here. Can he get a crush? They lift. There's a Sunstrike being thrown in as well. A little bit of damage down on the Slardar. The Crystal Maiden is going to end up falling after all of this. But Tongfu TP'd 2 heroes, and they lost the tower.
Technically, they TP'd 3 heroes. They lost the tower, and it wasn't even first blood. And now the Alchemist is just going to run up and get some free levels.
Show it's like, yes! Creeps!
Oh, ZSMJ! He's ready to go back.
ZSMJ walks into Rabbit, slowed down, there's a Rage as well, so no escape.
He wanted to go into the shop to buy his boots.
Yeesh, that... Not the best thing to be doing at nighttime when there were just Radiant heroes
it's
on
not
bot.
It's not even their side of the map there.
Yeah, they've got no control. There isn't even a tier 1 tower to retreat back to. There's this whole lane for Nakes to chase you, and there's nothing that your Weaver can do to save you in that situation.
That was just early Christmas for Xiaotuji.
Yeah, so get some farm up. He's gone for the phase boots here, so it looks like he's just planning to build up some early game items, continue sort of 5-manning with the Chen. XTT,
XTT.
got a Shikuchi.
He just got his
bottle.
Yeah. Like, I feel that Xiaotuji is probably thinking right now, they have to go aggressive early on because Tongfu has a very, very greedy lineup. The 3 cores are going to be really strong during the mid phase, stronger than, I would say their 3 cores are going to be stronger than LGD during the mid phase, depending on situation, but most likely they're going to be stronger because they're on the dire side, they can abuse the Roshan. So going for a Midas here might not be a really good option. So he's going to go for a more offensive item build. Go for drums, phase boots, and going to join fights early on.
Yeah, I mean, they could try and play it late, but I don't think it's to the strength of their lineup. Because if they play it late, then the Chen is falling off, and they really want to get as much out of you as you can.
Maybe they can do that if the Alchemist has a better start, but with the Alchemist having this sort of start, probably they shouldn't.
Yeah, so more aggression from LGD. 2-man smoke making its way up towards the top lane.
The CM and Chen is going to be really crucial in
Sancheng, he spots this first though as he walks down the cliff. The courier walks around. Crystal Nova not going to be used. They have managed to isolate the Slardar a little bit, but gets the stun down onto Xiao. It needs to find a target to stun here. Is going to get Sancheng. The Sunstrike flies in as well. They've bursted down the Visage before he can drop any spells. Zhou's chasing in here, but he doesn't have enough mana for another crush. DDC walking into the corner, trying to get one more bite out before he dies, but won't be able to do it. The Dragon Knight has also joined this fight. DD's fairly low. One more right click is going to finish him off. Rabbit's up here as well, but Moose got a haste rune, so nothing for the Lifestealer to do against the DK. Ends up being a 2-for-1.
It was quite the similar timing the last game when this happened, the 10-man at top lane. Oh, here comes the Alchemist and the
haste spins dispelled, he's been stunned up, there's another Sunstrike coming in, doing some good damage, but the Slardar is here! The Deafening Blast actually knocks him out of the crush, throws it down now, but it's only on 1, so Xiao is actually going to end up surviving. Yao turning up at just the right moment here.
3 seconds, open wounds, 3 seconds.
Rabbit still wants this at SMJ, you're not really safe under your tower, he's going to go for the TP out. Can they finish him off in time? There is a bite, cancelling that one. One more kill for the LGD side, and this movement top ends up paying off. The first exchange was 2 for 1, I think, but they managed to come back up, force another fight, and that's just two free kills there.
I felt that Sansheng was a bit too far ahead there. He had to be slightly behind there. Getting caught out, to be the first one caught out in a fight there wasn't what a YAO-WCH wants. You want to cast as many soul assumptions as possible.
Yeah, and the biggest problem was that he walked back in while the Alchemist was still looking for a concoction target. YAO-WCH's already got the stun. Mu should be brought down before there can be any response from the Tongfu side. They're even going to end up pulling out these TPs, deciding that the tier 1 tower is just dead to rights.
Well, when he tried to defend that, he was actually basically screwed because LGD saw the YAO-WCH at bottom and he just teleported bottom. Didn't have boots, didn't have TP, so they are one man up in that situation. There's going to be always 5 heroes from LGD. And the maximum heroes that Tongfu could bring was always going to be 4.
Yeah, and I mean, XTT was up there as well, interestingly enough. So not taking advantage of the 5-man from LGD to split push and grab a little bit of farm. Zhou's been jumped again on top lane. Just gets bitten, sunstruck, and nuked down. I don't know what he was even doing up here.
I see the plan, you know, Escape. Like, they've been using all these Alchemist concussions into the sunstruck so much. Like, they're just using the Alchemist like a mixed assassin, position 3. Not even bother going to farm him.
I mean, all you need is the concoction stun to line up the sunstrikes. And YAO-WCH's been super effective. He's 0-0-5 right now. He's made plays happen. He's yet to die, and
I would say that the Chen's movement around the map from the early game allowed him to do a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's a busy day at your Winter's household, isn't it?
Oh no, I guess it's like someone trying to call my house, but there's no one home here now apart me, and I'm trying not to answer.
Okay, well, we'll keep playing dumb. Mu pops the ultimate, trying to get some move speed out of here, but he gets bitten. It's the Sunstrike, it's the same combo again. Couple more right clicks, finish him off. Tongfu, all of their vision is on bottom lane. They just put these wards down recently. They're coming up to try and take this fight. Zhou looking for an angle in, but Sansheng's been isolated off to the side. The Hand of God's been used. The YAO-WCH is dead in one more right click. Tongfu are trying to chase in from the back. DDC is still somehow alive. The Deafening Blast comes in onto YAO again. Right place, right time. XTT pops the salve, trying to escape. It's going to bump into DDC, salving up as well, but Zhou's had enough. That's going to be the GG call. 9.5 minute GG.
That was really quick. Really quick. Maybe they were fighting already. I don't think they already lost the game. They are at a significant disadvantage, but there's still a possibility they might come back into the game. Usually stuff like that happens is because like someone is already fighting in a team, maybe, and
somebody's sick of the way that things are going.
Yeah, and they just gave up, even though there's still a chance they can come back.
Yeah, I really thought that we were gonna have Tongfu trying to grind it out and seeing if they could turn this game around. But I guess it's an uphill struggle. You've got to win this game that you're down on, and then you've also got to go into a third and final game, close that out, and
so I actually agree that the Alchemist and the Chen this game are just the MVPs, like you said. They did so much for the team, enabled them to control the whole tempo of the game, and Tongfu just got shut down so hard by the Chen and Alchemist.
Was it just too greedy from Tongfu, do you think? They had an offlane Weaver who wasn't ready to take the Chen fights. I don't
think the startup was really that bad in this situation. Startup, if you think about it, is really good against the Lifestealer and Alchemist. It's just that the situation where they picked startup, they were already very farm dependent. They have Weaver and Dragonite, and picking another startup means you have to farm a lot more. But if it works, I definitely feel that it's going to be really strong for Tongfu to take on LGD during the mid phase, but they just can't get past the early game.
Yeah, so really nicely done by LGD. So they're going to be advancing. They're going to be playing against the winner of our second best of 3 for this evening. So that's going to be IG versus LGD.int. That's scheduled to start in about 40 minutes time. I'm not sure if it's going to be moved up at all. Yesterday we did just stick to the schedule when the first best of 3 only went to 2 games. So if that changes, I'll let you guys know, but otherwise I think we are going to have a short break. So thank you for tuning in. This is the Sina Dota 2 Supernova Open second season. I'm sure I butchered that. This is round 1. It was LGD versus Tongfu, and LGD walking away with the win 2-0. I've been Basekip. Again, if you want to leave me any feedback, you can find me at basekipdota@gmail.com. Joining me was Winter, so if he has any closing thoughts, I'm going to pass it over to him before we jump over to a short break.
You can find me at winter.dota both on Facebook and Twitter, and hope to hear some feedbacks as well. And just this game was also very bad execution from Tongfu, but I have to say, like, it's more of being greedy at the same time, plus the bad execution.
Yeah, they couldn't get themselves into that mid game where their lineup really would have gotten going. But anyway, guys, it's going to wrap it up. I'll let you guys know if anything changes regarding whether the game's going to be soon or if it's going to be in 40 minutes. Right now, I am anticipating a little bit of a break. But thank you, and I hope to see you for our next series.